Well, folks, we've got a little bit of a problem. Welcome everybody. It's Monday and we are back to work. It's a holiday, at Columbus Day or something, I don't know. It's like only the banks and the government are closed. Everything else I think is pretty much still open. But we are out here on a little bush hogging project, one that I've done, I think, I don't know, this is probably the third time I've done it, something like that. So we're just gonna be doing some bush hogging today, time lapse most of it, maybe do a little end cab, I don't know, we'll have some fun. But mostly just some small grass and weeds and stuff. So, but I got the mulch out here and I'll explain why we're using that. Okay, so I got the machine warming up, got the TMC, and all we're doing in here is basically just bush hogging this lot. It's not much to it. I mean, this line right here gets a good bit of sunlight, so it's kind of got some taller dog fennel and stuff, but most of it's just this road grass, rye stuff, and then some of this other little stuff in here. Nothing big, nothing major. I bought the mulcher for a couple reasons. One, there is a good bit of deadfall in here. There's a big dead tree down in there. There is a good bit of deadfall from the storm we had earlier this year. These pines here are notorious about having branches and stuff fall off of them. And so my concern with that is if you come through here with the brush cutter and you're facing back towards the road, because I can't go that way because there's a ditch that cuts this in half, and it's just easier to go this way. If the brush cutter were to hit something, it's going to fling it straight out into the road, you know, possibly. So like there's a big log right there. So we're going to try to grind some of that stuff up. The other reason is, you can see there's a lot of trees in here. When you have the brush cutter, it makes the entire machine a lot longer. So it's harder to weave through these trees and stuff. It just makes the whole machine a lot longer. So the mulcher actually will weave through here a lot easier and a lot better than the brush cutter will. So that's really the two main reasons that I'm using this today. So we're just gonna run through here and knock this down. I don't have to come back through here and go around the trees. There's like 200 trees in here. I don't have to go back around and do them by hand. They just want it bush hog. Go around the trees as close as I can get, and that's all they want. And they just don't want this to get completely overgrown. So we do it about once a year. And then there's a little bit of a section on the back side over there where I did that embankment with the Mini about a week or so ago. So we'll take care of that, and that's that. So let's hop in the machine and get going. You see, I broke my other tripod on that last job, so I got this other big heavy duty one out here today. Don't think we'll break it, so let's get started. got dentist office over here. I got a bank down there, which luckily there's nobody at the bank today, but people might still be using the ATM. And we're gonna have to come back around by hand and just kind of weed eat around this little ditch pond thingy. Just gonna run this edge a little bit here, clean that up. Too close to that edge. I do want to knock down as much of it as I can. It don't really matter if all of this is mulched back down to dirt. It doesn't really matter. It's all going to grow back. Honestly, as far as the client is concerned, if it's all mulched back down to dirt, they'd be a little bit happier. Taking a lot longer to grow back. Because trust me, none of this stuff, when you mulch it down like this, as far as this stuff is concerned, it's not dying. It's not getting killed one bit. Not getting hurt one bit. My truck is right there, and I'm not even one bit worried about anything, the mulcher throwing anything to hit it. Now, if I had the brush cutter, I'd be scared crapless. But with this thing, with this door, I just don't really have much of a fear that it's going to throw anything, especially when we're just bush hogging like this. But the brush cutter will just pick stuff up off the ground and just chuck it like you would not believe. You didn't even know was there. One thing I am going to do, when I come across some of these stumps that are in here, they're going to get ground down though. Yeah, that's getting ground down. They're not fun to drive over. Big this lot is. I think it's 3 acres maybe, something like that. Probably somewhere in that ballpark. There weren't so many trees on it, you could mow this thing in a no time flat. Working around all these trees that just takes so long. you guys can tell, but I'm keeping that head kind of tilted back. Kind of rolled back, because when you roll the head back, it doesn't cut so close, quite so close to the ground. And you know, I don't really need it that, you know, that really close to the ground just to knock this stuff down. Just need to kind of work it like a flail mower basically, and just let it just kind of, the teeth just run over the ground nice and light, just to knock this stuff down, and that's it. I've got, I turned the flow down from 43 gallons a minute or 42 gallons a minute down to 40. Just don't need a whole lot of flow for this. No point in using what I don't need. Big proponent of, you know, running hydraulically, only running what the attachment needs for the job. You know, if you need to run it wide open at full power for whatever you're doing, do it. But if you don't, you know, only use what you need, and you know, your machine will thank you for it. Thank you for it later. Just a lot less wear and tear on the hydraulics on the machine, really. About as straight as you can, that's all you really can do. We'll kind of notch that right there. So that's what we're doing, and we'll just keep working this line on down, and we'll get this done in a few hours. Well, folks, we've got a little bit of a problem. This is a little bit of my concern coming down through this low section here. And I was trying to finish that little bit right there, and I came down in here and she just went cattywampy, and I backed out and went to that side, and I was able to turn, and it just won't get enough traction to get me back up this hill. I'm almost to the dry ground. I'm gonna put some sticks up underneath it and see if I can't get enough, because this is like on the edge of the dry ground here. If I can get just enough traction here, she might pull herself out. So let me get a few more sticks and we'll see what happens. All right, I think she may come out. Let's see. Oh, like a glove! Oh, come on! Oh, that was fun. I've always had an issue with this low spot through here. Oh, that's great. The rest of it looks good. Got a big rut right there. I was trying to get that last little bit right there, but I guess I will do that by hand. So we might as well put the finishing touches on this really quick, because I'm pretty much done in here. The only thing I have left to do, let me turn the GoPro back upside down, because it is upside down. Let me turn it around. Okay, that's better. All right, so the only thing I got left to do majorly is to do the pond, and I'm going to do that by hand. I did it last year by hand. Doesn't take no time. Biggest thing on is these little gums. I'll just go around with the hedge trimmer and knock this down. Takes me about an hour-ish or so. I'll do that little bit by hand. I'm gonna do the pond tomorrow, because right there where that Goodwill is, there's a retention pond right there in front of that Goodwill, and I've got to mow that retention pond tomorrow with the zero turn, and that's for the same client that owns this property. So we're gonna do that tomorrow, because I've had enough fun in here for today, and we're gonna be back tomorrow doing that. So, oh, almost didn't get her out, but she was right there close, so just put some sticks down and got her a little bit of leverage there on the front, and she come out. These tracks are not the best in mud, slick mud like this. They don't do the best, not like a sea log would. They don't dig, so you won't bury yourself quite as fast as like a sea log or a traditional log track would. But once those little sipes get full of mud, it starts to slip and slide pretty quick. So, but they are really wide tracks, so they float really well in soft ground. But I come down off that hill right there trying to get into there, and it just went, you can see where it just sank, and it just pulled me to the right, and off I went. And I was trying to go back up. I gunned it, which was probably the worst thing I could have done, but I hit that high spot right there, and she just stopped. She wouldn't crawl back over that high spot, and that was all she wrote. So I backed up, and I got it right there, but if that tree hadn't been in my way, I probably would have been all right. But you can see I knocked that tree, because she was coming back up to the high ground right there onto that hard spot. But that damn gum tree was right in my way. But we got her. I got a big rut right there, but nothing I can do about it. This whole section through here is low. I don't know if one rut's really gonna hurt anything, but all right, well, that's bush hogging with a mulcher. I don't necessarily, I mean, you can use these mulchers for bush hogging, but I did that in here today because there was a ton of deadfall in here. So just what had to be done, I ground up a bunch of it, especially back here on this backside. A bunch of branches off these trees. There's several dead trees in there too, so there was a good bit of deadfall in there, and I just wasn't comfortable bringing the bush hog over here. And this thing just goes through, it weaves through the trees a lot better than the bush hog does, because the machine is so much shorter. Like with the MTL, which I would have used the MTL, it'd be like out here where I'm standing, where the tip of it would be. So it's really hard to weave your way through there, working around those trees, when the machine has such a long wheelbase with that brush cutter sticking out in front of it. So, but yeah, it did good. Left a nice finish. You guys can see it through there. I don't have to go back around the 200 trees that are in there by hand, so it's not part of my deal. I do have to go around this pond, but that's it. So, all right, well, I'm gonna load this thing up, go down there and get my tripod, and we'll blow her off and load her up, and we'll be back for that retention pond tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be pretty epic. That'll be a fun one. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.